Welcome, everyone, to the ARCS High Octane Series. Race 5 from Nashville Superspeedway. We're glad you're with us here for what should be a pretty exciting race on hand. A wild week has given way to the ability for a very fun weekend. Here in the series, we had the Nashville Superspeedway, 1.3-mile concrete oval, set to do all the battling here today. So let's jump straight into it. This is how things look. Front of the field, Dale Markowski and Kevin Feemster will get the party started. They're on the front row here in Nashville. Connor Knowlton, Matt Forndren sit in row number 2. Aiden Norman, he makes the move from Chevrolet to Ram for his start here in Nashville. Was not in North Wilkesboro a week ago. Chris Fleming in the 6th spot. Row 3 outside of Norman there, starting 6th. Brent Roberts, Austin Mongold starting in row number 4. Row 5, Noah Belleville and Colin McDonough. They make up your top 10 here. Bradley Wright, Josh Gaiman in row number 6. Row 7, Robert Keach Jr. and Tommy Withers. Row 8, Elris George and Toby Estes. Row 9, James Kerr and Jeremy Braille. John Smeal rounding out the field. 19 trucks in total here as we get ready to go racing here in Nashville. But it is Dale Markowski on pole position as we get ready to go racing here tonight. 110 laps as we get ready to go. Right underway and racing here in Nashville. Immediately, Connor Knowlton pops to the top. His Chevrolet now leads the way. Trouble for the back. That is Feemster. And he's not alone. Caution's out for the first time on lap 2. Fleming, Brent Roberts, and Bradley Wright also involved here and all off track. Here's what happened. We'll have to back that up just a second. So you better look at that. So this is my above. There's a bit of a hip check there between Feemster and Brent Roberts. Matt Forndren, nowhere for him to go. He gets into the back of Feemster. Roberts ends up in the fence. Feemster and Bradley Wright end up in the grass, and you see the checkup. So checkups early here as the field has to compensate early on. That, a lot of pit stops. Everyone coming in to double check on how they're feeling right now. Trying to correct a couple things on the overlays. A couple more Ram trucks are present here tonight. Looking at the front of the field with Aiden Norman. He is moved over to his Ram machine. Go racing once again. Opening caution affecting 9 trucks in total. Time for us to go racing once again. Green flag flies and away we go. Wilton leads the way over Norman. Ren Roberts a lap down early. Look at Aiden Norman's new truck as he rolls through the corner. Tim Markowski, a pole sitter, now sitting down in third. Ahead of Keach, ahead of Noah Belleville. They've out of fourth. Connor Knowlton still leading the way. They're trying to break away at the front of the field. Meanwhile, Austin Longo finds himself in the eye of the storm. If I'm not mistaken, this is his second race of the season. If not his first. This might be his first race of the season. And he has placed himself in the top 10 firmly, right there in 6th. Between Jeremy Braille, who's had a busy week, between his ARCS obligations and racing an ABN Champ car at Barber. Noah Belleville sitting right there in the 5th spot. And that number 41 truck. Got a side-by-side battle further back. This is John Smeal, the 13, alongside Chris Fleming in the 18. 2 trucks involved in the second lap caution. Making a little bit of a shuffle here. And it'll be Smeal that makes his way forward. Brother Wright also in that conversation, in that battle for 16. There we go, side-by-side battle here. Quiche passed by Belleville. And Mongold in pursuit. Here goes Braille. In some close quarters competition. Almost 3 wide. Josh Gaiman thought about it. Ended up thinking a little bit better. Braille falls back a little bit. Here comes Gaiman on the charge. Josh Gaiman tries to make his way forward into the top 5. Laps underway. Connor Knowlton still leads. First stage comes to a close on lap 24 here in Nashville. So we're close to the stage break here, coming to 4 laps to go in stage 1. It has been a pretty early breakaway for the top two. Knowlton and Norman untouchable so far in this opening stanza. Dale Markowski holding his own against Noah Belleville, Robert Keach Jr. In a part-time effort right now, sitting top 5. Under pressure now, under duress from Josh Gaiman. And here comes a 5-way fight for 7. Mongold, Braille. Now Vorndren's back in that top 10 conversation. Colin McDonough's there in 10th. And then you have the 60 of Toby Estes. And that Royal Crown machine. Outstanding looking Chevrolet Silverado. Lap times continue to tick through. 2 laps to go in the stage. He's over Storage in 13th behind Toby Estes. Kevin Feemster in 14th place from our top 10 scores stage points. Mongold, Braille, and Vorndren all trying to surge themselves forward and push McDonough down to 10th. As Toby Estes tries to surge forward. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. In stage 1. Side by side, Markowski with Belleville. Belleville over under. Let's see if Markowski can respond. Knowlton wins stage 1. Belleville takes 3rd behind Aiden Norman, and Dale Markowski will drop to 4th. Close, but not close enough. Waiting up for the pace truck. So, second caution, this time just for the stage break. And that lets us reset here. With that being said, I'm trying to update the manufacturers on the overlay tower here. So bear with me for a second. We've got to update that with Tommy Withers, Robert Keach Jr. Also have to change that of Norman since he has moved to Ram here in the series. So we're going to go ahead and pull that down for a second. So you get an uninterrupted filter here. While we get that pulled up, I want to pull up the QR code on the left side, right side of your screen. ABN Champ Car posted second race of the season at Barber Motorsports Park. Free to everyone. If you want to see the second part of the doubleheader, or the first part of the doubleheader here today, QR code will get you to the ABN Champ Car race at Barber Motorsports Park. Jeremy Braille took part in that. So did Tommy Withers and Kevin Feemster, of the drivers on your screen right now. Go ahead and join the party using that QR code on the side of your screen today. And I say that as apparently it is not up on the side of your screen. So, whoops. Let's see if we can fix that. There we go. There's that QR code. As we get ready to go racing here in stage 2. Working on getting the overlay updated with the correct manufacturers. It's been fighting me all broadcast so far, so. But it is Connor Knowlton, Noah Belleville, Del Markowski, and Austin Mongold front and center on your screen. So get ready to go racing once again. John Smeal a lap down. It looks like his day's actually come to a complete close here. Green flag flies for the rest of the field, and away we go. Up in the fence, Keach. He worked so well in the first stage. He had worked so well. And it falls apart so quick on him. Mongold makes his way up to the third spot. Chasing down Noah Belleville, Del Markowski back up to fourth, Josh Gaiman in the fifth spot. Stage 2 ends on lap 50. There we go. And we got everything back on track. So Knowlton leads the way. He has been pretty much spotless in this race so far. "31 laps complete, 31 laps led for Connor Knowlton as he leads the way. Belleville sitting in the second spot. Austin Mongold in close proximity. The Chevrolet in two forwards, followed by the highest running Ram at the moment of Josh Gaiman. Here comes Gaiman. Has to look to the outside. And there's your pass for position. Del Markowski Watching it all unfold. He's sitting there in the top 5. Aiden Norman keeping Toby Estes at bay. Estes was trying to charge hard at the end of stage 1. Robert Keith Jr. sitting in the 8th spot behind Toby Estes. So he's still sitting top 10. Recovered okay after tagging the wall on the restart. But he's still got work to do. Sitting in the 9th spot. Got ahead of Colin McDonough. McDonough back in the 10th spot once again. And then it's Jeremy Braille, Tommy Withers, and Bradley Wright. Nose to tail. And Roberts came back just a little bit in that 84 Carvana Toyota. That Tundra sitting in 14th. John Smeal back on the racetrack in 19th as we sort of just work our way through the field. Elris George in the 40, that white and red Dodge. Ahead of Kevin Feimster and James Kerr. Chris Fleming in 18th. And then John Smeal back on the racetrack. That Lucky Charms Ram is 3 laps down. Car for truck 13. But he is currently the only truck off the lead lap, so if we stay where we are, he'll get one of those laps back on lap 51 once we get to the stage caution. But he's hoping for a little bit more than that. He's hoping for a little bit more than we saw on lap 2. A little bit of chaos to sort of mix things up. Longold in 4th. Doesn't quite have the pace to keep touch with Knowlton or with Josh Gaiman here as they begin the battle for 2nd. But given Mongold has not been in this truck for months, I'd say he's not doing too awful bad right now. Ahead of pole sitter Markowski, ahead of multiple-time Truck Series champion Aiden Norman. Toby Estes there in 7th. Robert Keats Jr. in 8th. Gordon 9th, McDonough 10th is how they sit with 10 laps to go in stage 2. Watching live here, the live chat, the amount of Rams is crazy. It's a little bit crazier today than what it was last week. We had 7 last week in North Wilkesboro. We have increased by 2. We're at 9. 9 of 19. Despite that, it is a Chevrolet that leads the way. The shiny new toys in the ARCS High Octane Series. They finished on the podium. Matt Forger finished 3rd at North Wilkesboro for Ram. But they've not led so far. Didn't lead at North Wilkesboro. Haven't led so far here in Nashville. Gaiman's got some pace. I don't know if he's got race leading pace. As Aiden Norman makes his charge up the field. Norman sitting now in the 4th spot. Markowski, a little bit of latency for him in that Pepto-Bismol 33. Estes going to give a bump to Markowski, but it's not going to be enough to take on Austin Mongold. He is sticking it pretty well in that outside lane. All 4 manufacturers on your screen right here in this battle for the 5th spot for the top 5. And here comes Matt Fordrin. I spoke about him finishing 3rd last week. Here he is. He finished 2nd last week, actually, in North Wilkesboro. He was in the top 3. A bit more latency there between Mongold and Markowski. Coming to 4 to go in the stage. Side by side. Still Mongold bound for that 5th spot. He is not letting that go, and Mongold with a little latency now. Side by side in 2 rows. Make that 3 rows further back. That is a battle between McDonough and Braille. 400 washed up the racetrack just a little bit. Markowski trying to get the advantage. Mongold side drafts him a little bit and holds on to 5th at the line. Mongold well up the racetrack here. Will lose the spot definitely there. Markowski for 5th. 3 wide for 6th. Mongold, Estes, and Keach. And it's Robert Keach Jr. on the bottom lane. Making the most disruption there. Estes grabs 6th at the line. 2 to go in the stage. And Mongold beginning to feel a little bit helpless. 3 wide again. 400 to the bottom. Mongold still up top. Little bit of contact further back. That was Brayoff sideways off the nose of McDonough. They all kept it collected, and we stay going. White flag in stage 2. Mongold out of the top 10 altogether. This is a battle for 8th on your screen right now. Brent Roberts trying to drive deep into the corner, 3 and 4. Keach gets clear. Caution is out. And that'll end the stage. Knowlton wins both stage 1 and stage 2. He is looking, so far, he's looking perfect. 50 laps completed at 110. He's led all 50. He is trying to go pillar to post here in Nashville Superspeedway. Pretty wild stuff there. Johnson will get one of those laps back as the free pass. Only truck off the lead lap at this particular point in time. Pit stops taking place here. to get us set for the final. Just about 55 laps under green is what we'll see here in stage 3. Knowlton wins that battle off pit lane pretty easily over Noah Belleville. Aiden Norman and Josh Game would swap hands for 3rd and 4th. And while we're under caution here for the second stage break, a look at what's to come here on ABN. Tomorrow, it is the Winstall Cup Series at Texas. 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Twitch. And then we head over on Monday to Patreon for the HTL Double Barrel Challenge. After a wild and exciting time doing plate races on Monday, we switch it up a little bit. We stay at Daytona, but we go to the road course, and then we go to Thunder Valley to race at Bristol in the Mazda MX-5s. Both of those races take place on Monday night. Action begins 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Patreon. We're back here next Saturday for the ARCS High Octane Series on the streets of St. Petersburg. And then next Sunday, the last race for the Winstall Cup Series before the Easter break is at Martinsville in the car tomorrow. Some exciting stuff there coming up. As we mentioned before, a lot of content becoming more and more available on Patreon with the QR code bottom right of your screen. A lot of podcasts coming out this week. ABN Beyond the Driver's Seat. We get ready to announce our first guest for that coming up this weekend. That first podcast for Beyond the Driver's Seat will come out on Wednesday. We have announcements coming up on Thursday and everything in between. Again, that QR code can get you in the right spot. Go ahead and join the club here today. Knowlton and Belleville, front of the field. All 19 trucks still rolling. The green flag flies, and away we go. Knowlton out and away with minimal pressure there. Ram sitting in 3rd and 4th once again. Norman and Gaiman. Remember, they swapped hands on that pit exchange. Aiden Norman, now that he's out of track position, he is looking to be a threat potentially in that 62 truck. Sitting right now in the 3rd spot. And he is closed in on Belleville. The question becomes, will it stick? Pretty big question that we're about to have answered. Huge bump there. Norman got a little tight there to turn 4. Josh Galen gave him a good old shot down the front straightaway. Belleville staying close right now. Within 0.2. A couple of truck lengths. There in turns 1 and 2. We'll see how things change. John Smeal is back behind the wall after 50 laps. I think his day is pretty well done. Latency has been an issue for several drivers. Bradley Wright just had a big spike in latency. He's right now in that 7th spot, battling with Matt Thorndrum. Coming to 49 laps to go here. We have crossed the halfway point pretty well and easy. Did that the lap after the restart. As Thorndrum takes 7th. His first race without Delta Sport on the racetrack. For those that didn't follow along, Delta Sport, who won the race at North Wilkesboro a week ago, not present here. And there's a question mark on if they'll be present the rest of the season here in the High Octane Series. Following controversy that took place not even in this series, but in the ARCS Cup Series last Sunday. We covered in full already. It's available on Patreon for those that want to gab a little bit more of the inside scoop of what took place, what transpired. But neither the defending champion Matthew Seeger nor last week's race winner Aaron Edwards present tonight. And it leaves an open void as you see this battle door to door. And Belleville leads this first lap of the night. As I was going to mention, it leaves an open void for people to try to step in and become leaders here in the series with your 2-time defending champion not present. The door is open. Knowlton looks really set and poised in the first half of this race. However, it has changed. And trouble! Huge trouble! Knowlton! And I believe that was Belleville that went straight on into the fence. It is not his Estes. It is Toby Estes that I believe went head on into the fence. And just like that, trouble. Estes, Wright, Knowlton, and Withers all involved here in what should have been more than just a 4-truck crash. Let's take a look at it here. Knowlton trying to close the door on Toby Estes. He's trying to clear himself, and he's just not quite clear. Estes put his nose in there. 24 gets looped around a little bit. And it's not even off really the nose of Knowlton. It's off the nose of Gaiman that Estes goes directly into the outside wall. Bradley Wright gets collected by netcode, by latency. Nowhere for Withers to go. That's a straight-on hit. Colin McDonough, he's going to try and fail to get that truck slowed down. So count it 5 trucks involved here in this 4th caution of the night. And when it rains, it pours for Connor Knowlton. Loses the lead. In an attempt to try to get back in line, spins himself off the nose of Toby Estes. Spoke to Knowlton earlier this afternoon, and he said that he kind of embraced his aggressive driver nature. He said his front bumper was rated E for everyone. I believe the irony is that I don't think he's the only one with an E for everyone bumper. based on what we've seen at North Wilkesboro and here in Nashville so far. I'd say pretty inclusive, the front bumpers of these vehicles. Everyone's catching hands and strays over the last couple weeks. Might have to invest in a DEI sticker to put on some of these cars. That being said, it is familiar faces at the front of the field. Back when the series was called Saturday Night Showdown, it was these two that battled for championships time and time and time and time and time and time again. And it was always Aiden Norman in the 62 that held the championship trophy. They're at the front once again, and a little bit of deja vu from 2 years ago. We get to see what they can do. Ren Roberts, quiet but effective. He's in third alongside Josh Gaiman. 18 trucks still on the racetrack. As we get ready to go racing, we're underway once again. That was a really early restart by Noah Belleville. And he immediately gives the race lead up. Here comes Ren Roberts alongside Aiden Norman. But Aiden Norman will stay strong on the outside lane and stay clear for the race lead. But Belleville grabbed a little bit of a jump there and had to give spots up, it looks like. A little bit of latency for Belleville. Does not help his case. Gaiman there in fourth, Matt Vorndren in fifth. They are all in that conversation, and then there's a gap to Austin Mongold in sixth. And trouble Keach. Single car. But the caution comes out a fifth time for a car parked on the racing surface. So Aiden Norman will control a restart this time as Keach got loose out of turn 2. And here we are with 41 laps to go. Not seeing a lot of takers for pit lane this time. Some takers: Roberts, Gaiman, Mongold, Fleming. But most of the top 10 stayed out there. So it is Norman Belleville once again front and center. This time Norman in the race lead for this restart. And the Rams now front and center. First, third, and fourth. With Belleville, the lone Ford, and Markowski, the lone Chevrolet in the top 5. Carmen and Belleville, Thorndren and Braille, Markowski and Estes, your top 6. As we get ready to go back racing here with less than 40 laps to go. Knowlton and George, Withers and Keach, your top 10. We get ready to go racing once more. Steadicam right here near start finish line as the field takes the green flag. Away we go. Norman with a good launch. Here comes Thorndren. Second place a week ago. Looking for another second place here. See if he can probably get a race win. He's going to try to, but he's going to be under a lot of pressure immediately from Belleville. Over under. Belleville to the apron. 6 around the outside lane there. Trying desperately to hold on to second place. Side by side. Thorndren's going to hold on there pretty well. Sealing in the turns 1 and 2. He gets himself clear. Belleville washes up the racetrack. Got tight out of turn 2. And under threat to lose third to Braille here. Here comes Estes as well, the 19. And then there's Knowlton in the 24. Keep an eye on that 24 truck. Whoa, trouble. Trucks in the fence, further back, cautions out. That is Feemster and George. And Feemster's the one backwards. Doesn't look like a lot of damage on that 17 truck, thankfully. But trouble for Kevin Feemster. So let's see what happened here to Kevin Feemster. 3 wide. George on the outside, closest to the wall. Feemster in the middle. And it looks like George is sort of... He just comes down and grabs the 17 and hooks him into the wall there. I don't know if he realized that they were 3 wide. But it hooks 17 and spins him wrong way around. And so truck 17 is in position 17 with our George now in 18th place. Doesn't look like hard hits for either of them. And neither of them were really near the front of the field. They were battling for 13th there. And so Feemster is there. Ours George will actually end up in this 16th spot here. But we'll come down pit lane just to get some of that stuff buffed out. And so it is Aiden Norman. Was led out, make it 10 laps in this race. Connor Knowlton led the first 50 uncontested. But now it is up for grabs here in stage 3 as we get closer and closer to 30 laps to go. 6th yellow of the night here at Nashville Superspeedway. 11 laps led. Matt Fordman still has not led a lap yet in this race. He starts in second for this restart. Jimmy Braille and Josh Galen sit in row number 2. Row 3, Bradley Wright and Colin McDonough as we get ready to go racing once again with 31 laps to go. Austin Mongold in 7th. He's alongside Dale Markowski for the restart. Noah Belleville among those that just came down pit lane. Fresh tires at the back of the field. He's in 9th alongside Toby Estes. Restart zone, away we go. Good restart there by Norman. What can Braille do? Challenging with Vorndren. And caution's out. And it's Keach. His second issue, and he's not alone. And Withers will have to tow, and that might effectively end his day. Seventh caution in quick succession here, and it's a checkup. That was Belleville and Knowlton that checked up. It caught Keach off guard. Looks like it's worse there. Belleville gets loose again and gets sent off the racetrack there by Knowlton. It's really the hardest hit. It's going to be that of Withers, who hits the wall hard. And Feemster gets clipped at the very end there. It doesn't hit the wall, thankfully. But most of the damage is on that 60 truck that is now behind the wall and done for the day. So 7th caution here to stay in the race, and with less than 30 to go in stage 3 to end out this race. Almost crunch time. Those are fresh tires getting a little bit jumpy. Trying to make it as quick work as possible to try to get through the field on those fresh tires before they lose that advantage. Unfortunately, this does not help their case. Go back racing here with 27 laps to go when we go green. Norman and Braille will go at it. Vorndren and Gaiman in row 2. Braille, Norman, Vorndren, and Gaiman. It is a Ram 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the front of the field. They have showed up in spades late as we're ready to go racing once again. 7th restart coming up here in Nashville. 27 laps to go. We're back underway. A little bit loose there, Bradley Wright on the inside of Jeremy Braille. Vorndren up to second. Norman leads the way. But here comes Bradley Wright challenging for position. Wants to get on the podium. Gaiman in the fence for a second. He's trying to rally back for that 4th spot. Fresh tires further back. How quickly can they move forward? Toby Estes, freshest tires. He's the highest forward. He's in 7th. That 19 truck on your screen. Trying to make his way forward. He's working on Mongold now. Norman leads the way. Then it's Vorndren. And a little bit of contact further down the running order. And there we go. Trouble. 8th caution of the night. Knowlton and Belleville. And Feemster again with nowhere to go. A little bit of damage on that right front fender for Kevin Feemster. But it is Knowlton and Belleville that end up wrong way round. So our 8th caution of the night. And it's 3 wide, and this looks aggressive. So let's go ahead and step back for a second. And we really want to get a good look here, and yeah, there's going to be some more contact here as this plays out. This is on the back straightaway entering turn 3. Let's let it play in slow motion. Pit stops taking place for some, not many. Coming down pit lane this time. Knowlton on the 24. Belleville on the 41. That's Robert Keach Jr. in the 21 behind them. And then Feemster in the 17, who's once again got the worst perspective if you're trying to avoid an accident. Belleville tries sending it to the inside lane and washes up a little bit to the 24. Moves up at the racetrack just a little bit. That seems fair, though. In race, that you've got contact racing, elbows out. We've seen this before. A little more contact there, and then it looks like Knowlton tries dooring the 41 back, and they end up just getting collected together. Knowlton gets Belleville onto the grass. Belleville loses control. And there's not a lot anyone can do about that. That's James Kerr that gets a piece of Belleville, and Knowlton pins Feemster up against the fence. And it is day done for Connor Knowlton. Which is unfortunate. The dominant start that he had. All for it to end up with what is quite practically a 16th place finish. Well, Belleville still getting repair work done. Ours George getting more work done. Same with James Kerr. Just an unfortunate night in the office. Norman, Vorndren, Braille, Gaiman, Wright, your top 5 as we get ready to go back racing here for the 8th restart of the night, looking at coming to 21 laps to go. With 14 cars on the lead lap. Well, Belleville a lap down, but still running. A caution without him being involved in it would put him back on the lead lap. Flag flies, away we go. Ram 1, 2, 3, and 4. But do they cannibalize each other here in this battle for the top 3? Estes, remember, fresher tires on that 19 truck. He is now top 5. Outside lane as well. It's been a good passing lane on the outside if you can use the tires to your advantage, and he is pretty in tune with that right now. Got clear of his teammate there, Bradley Wright, the Bluegrass Bandits, 5th and 6th. He got right to the bumper, the Bray out there, as they battle for second, Gaiman and Borndren. Estes, really good run out of turn 4. Gets to the bottom, to the inside of Braille. And Braille has nothing for him. Estes up to 4th. He's going to try to rally back here on the exit of turn 2. I might have something there, Braille. Looks like Belleville's day officially done and dusted in the fence, Braille. A little bit of ping pong between Braille and Bradley Wright as he bounced off the fence, but we stay going, we stay green. Estes up to 4th. As they race door to door. Here comes Fleming. And the 18 car have not called his name much in this race. He is up to 6th. It is Norman and Gaiman. You're now your top 2. Borndren in 3rd, looking for back-to-back podiums, if he can muster it. Under pressure from Estes now in this battle for 3rd. .15 laps to go. The question has shifted to who can beat Aiden Norman in the Clean Air Sweepstakes. Oh, a little loose there, Borndren. Opens the door right there for Estes to battle for that 3rd spot. And forward they march. Estes crowds him up the racetrack just a little bit. But move Toby Estes into third place. Some fresh tires in the mix. He's having himself a little bit of clean air as Gaiman tries to challenge for that runner-up. Tries to challenge for the race lead. He's in the runner-up spot right now. Trying to go for the race lead, closing the gap down. Now quarter of a second at the front of the field in closing. Running on board here with Estes. Closed in. 3 cars within a second. Top 6 within 2 seconds. Chris Fleming also on a charge on fresh tires. His Chevrolet looking pretty good. He's up in 4th. Running on board with him. 11 laps to go. This one's not over. Comes Estes battling for that second spot. And with Fleming and the pace that he's had, can he make a run for podium? Norman has turned on the jets just a little bit. But Estes is clear now to try to challenge for that race lead, coming to 9 laps to go. He's going to close in a second, though, in 9 laps. That's going to be difficult. Battle for third. Fleming to the bottom. Gaiman up top. Fresh tires on that 18 compared to the 61. Gaiman's going to give it his best shot, but he tags the fence out of 2, and Fleming's got third. Toby Estes burned up his stuff trying to get around Gaiman. The gap is 1.0. It's a little over a second. Did he burn up his stuff? It has been a long while since we've seen Aiden Norman in victory lane on AB and Springs. He is coming to 7 laps to go to try to change that. Estes has not been able to close the gap down. Norman leads by a little over a second, but it's getting that gap's getting a little bit larger. It's almost 1.1. Here comes Vorndren. As Fleming burned up his tires too much with 6 laps to go. Wright and Gaiman, they go side by side. Push doors in a little bit. Wright was trying to find a way around Gaiman. He couldn't do so. Gap now 1.2 seconds at the line in favor of Norman at the front of the field with 5 to go. Trucks, all of them on the lead lap. None of them in danger of going a lap down here, so no lap traffic for the race leaders. Austin Mongol challenging your pole sitter, Dale Markowski. There's Robert Keith Jr. and Colin McDonough also battling That is over 10th. Fleming holding on to third. Car in the fence. Gaiman will lose fifth to probably right here. Tied the fence out of 4. Top 3 spread out. Most under pressure is Fleming. Fordren just tagged the wall. Just trying to push the envelope there to try to battle for that 3rd spot. Tags the wall. And now is under pressure from Bradley Wright for that 4th spot. Gaiman in the fence again. 3 laps to go. Battle door to door, Markowski and Mongold. McDonough's in that conversation too. The white flag is out. 1 lap to go here in Nashville. Aiden Norman becoming undeniable here in stage 3. The winless route is over. Aiden Norman wins at Nashville. He takes the checkered flag. Toby Estes and Chris Fleming round out the podium. Ram gets its first win in its 2nd race at the hands of a former ARCS Truck Series champion at a time where there is an open space at the top of the pecking order that was once filled by Delta Sport. It takes a former champion to fill that gap, and he goes for a wild spin to celebrate in the grass in Nashville. Burns it down here in a big way. While he celebrates, we're going to clear out the ad on Twitch that's coming up here. So bear with us as we try clearing out that ad space. And after we get all that cleared out, we'll do post-race interviews with the podium here in Nashville. So stay with us. You're on ABM. All right, everyone. We appreciate you being with us here as we get ready to talk to our podium finishers here. Aiden Norman, Toby Estes, Chris Fleming, your top three ahead of Matt Varndren. After missing out on a race win a week ago in North Wilkesboro, they finished first and third here in Nashville. Matt Varndren in fourth, missing out on the podium just by a little bit. Bradley Wright, Josh Gaiman round out your top six. Jeremy Braille, Dale Markowski, Austin Mongold, Colin McDonough round out your top 10 here in Nashville. Outside the top 10, Robert Keats Jr. and James Kerr. They finish 11th and 12th here. Kevin Feemster, 13th. Elvis George, 14th. That is your list of finishers. All 14 on the lead lap there. 5 retirements. Noah Belleville, Connor Knowlton, Tommy Withers, Bren Roberts, and John Smeal all out. And they all fell out in the third stage. They all made it through stages 1 and 2. That being said, we do have interviews coming up here. So let's try to jump in and grab some of your podium finishers here from Nashville. Let's start with third place, Chris Fleming, front and center here. Podium finish, strategy call turned out to be the right call. Tires were important. We figured they would be here at Nashville. The concrete jungle typically shreds them up. Walk us through it, though, because you had to work through the field to get there a couple times.
I think I drove through the field at least 3 times. Started 6th, was great out front, at least in the top 8 to 10 when you had cleaner air, and got stuck in that lap 1 debacle. I ended up having a decent amount of damage. Didn't want to use my fast repair on lap 1 just because we know how races go here, and wanted to save that for when I absolutely needed it. Ended up getting it fixed up to about probably a minute and got involved in another one and got that fixed and got involved into another one. I think I hit everything tonight but the lottery. But towards the end there, I started once the track got dark. I actually, once it got night outside, I figured out a little bit more, and the truck actually started to come back to life for me, and my line started to work a little bit better. Well, I can't say high line, but the middle line came in, which was our high line, and started making passes. And basically, once that last caution came out, I think I was sitting somewhere in like the 8th to 10th range, and I was like, I'm not going to lose too many spots if nobody else comes in. Let me get some freshies. And I think there was about 4 or 5 of us that came in, and ended up working enough that it got me up to 3rd. I burnt up the right front. I definitely felt it. I got to Toby, and then couldn't get around him, and ended up just holding it there. Me and Matty V had a good run for a little while. I ended up being able to stay in front of him just because of clean air. He kept making moves, and I kept just shutting him down. But other than that, it's great to be back on the podium. I feel like I haven't been back up here in a very long time. So good confidence booster, good way to start rolling. Missed out on a lot of stage points, so I'll definitely take a 3rd to make up on those stage points.
A wild week for your team. Obviously not so much a factor here in High Octane, but a wild week for the team overall throughout the week. You talk about needing a confidence booster. With the week that you had, what kind of explains sort of just the mental aspect, because that is such a huge aspect, no matter what series that you're racing in. You've had a lot to sort of go over and get through here as far as ARCS goes this week. How much did that affect get you going into the race? And obviously, while you don't have quite the operation in High Octane, what does this do for you and your team going forward? Just sort of beginning that next step forward.
Well, after last week, I think anything that happened would be better than what happened after Sunday. There was some things that happened on Sunday. There was, it's a lot to explain for a very short interview, but long story short, I lost my entire team. Now, everybody made the joke that I was the Denny Hamlin because I owned a team but didn't race on the team, so I'm a part of Black Acid, and I had a full team of 4 of Mid-Pack Mafia in ARCS, and some penalties got handed down, and a lot of those guys stick together. They also are, the Delta Sport guys, and they have a lot of things to race for just besides, my little team in the grand scheme of things in ARCS. Delta Sport is a very big operation, and I'll still support those guys. They were great drivers for me, and whatnot. But I lost one due to a penalty, and they all followed, so I ended up having a empty team. So in the midst of things, I ended up the team that I love and call home. The guy that drafted me as a rookie last season, and I ended up getting a win for Black Acid, my first ever race with Black Acid for at Daytona. I now have to step away from that team to go race on my own team, just so there's drivers so I can stay somewhat in the points as owner standards and whatnot. I ended up talking to a few people. I ended up drafting Matthew Kent for my team. He was basically a full-time free agent, and just looking through the list of people that I could pick, he's a solid guy, solid finisher every week. I know I can pretty much guarantee him for a top 10 every week, but coming into today, just because of all of the animosity and all of the talk and everything of, my team leaving and stuff like that, today needed to be a good day. I needed for what you said, I needed a better mental health day today for everything that's gone on this week. I mean, Sunday, half of the stuff that was going on, I didn't even know what was going on, because right after, it's still the same as last season, as it is this season, right after the A squared race is done, I go to work. So we get done with our races at 9:30. I hop in the shower at 10, and I'm at work by 11. So I got an ambulance call as soon as I got to work, and my phone's blowing up in my pocket. And I'm like, what is going on? About 3,000 Discord messages later, I now learned what was going on and had to hurry up and fix it.
And obviously, the challenges keep rolling, but this time it's an on-track variety. We head to the streets of St. Petersburg next Saturday for a street course race in Florida. It's going to be a wild race. It was a wild race in real life when they went there last month. What's the expectation going into St. Petersburg? Is it just survive, or is there a little bit of anticipation?
Next week, for me personally, is not a big road course person. Next week's going to be more of a survive for me. I'm not very good at road courses. It's kind of just stay out there, get as many points as I can, and learn. It's not that I can't drive road courses. I just don't have a lot of experience on them. When you have the opportunity to go, in officials to go race like a street stock or a late model stock or something like that at a track you're familiar with, versus go race, let's say, a cup car at Watkins Glen or a truck at, the Chicago street course, I'm going to pick the one that's a little bit more fun for me. So it's definitely going to be a learning experience. It's definitely, there's a lot of good guys in here to learn from. I know one of the big proprietors that's always telling me to race more road races is Colin McDonough. He's a very big road guy, a lot of GT cars and all that stuff like that. If there's some weird car and track combination, he's probably ran it, and he's always trying to get me to run stuff, and I just never take him up on the offer, because I have a hard enough time turning left. I don't need to throw rights into it at this particular moment. But so next week's going to be a survive. Just hoping to have a good points day. I finished the Cinderella story too many times in this series. Still, out of all of the ARCS series I've ran, this is the only one I haven't got my first win in yet. I've been the Cinderella story, 2-3 years in a row now. So just hoping for points, hoping to be there at the end of the year, get my first win this season. Definitely won't be at St. Pete's, but keep your eye open for the rest of the season. And definitely hoping to be in the talks at the end of the year for the points battle.
With that being said, third place, no laughing matter here at Nashville. Before we let you go, I'll let you obviously get ready for what comes next this upcoming, the rest of the weekend and going into next week. If there's anyone want to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on the podium here tonight.
I appreciate it. Definitely want to first say thanks to you guys for always putting on a great broadcast. Threw a few of the logos on the car for this week. Saw that you posted them, so definitely got some ARCS branding on the car. Got to obviously, thank all the guys at High Octane. I'm a new admin this year, so those guys put a lot of trust into me, to help them run this series. And I think this is probably the best series that we have in ARCS, and this is the one that I look forward to every week the most. Got to thank, Just the Top for, the sponsorship, and, him always helping me with, creating graphics and edits and everything else like that. And just, family, friends, all that. My girlfriend for, putting up with my shenanigans of racing every weekend, knowing darn well that we could go out to dinner, but here I am on a Saturday night racing virtual trucks. But other than that, just thank you to everybody, and look forward to seeing you guys next week.
A fantastic job for Chris Fleming. Third place here in Nashville. He'll look to survive St. Petersburg before the Easter break here coming up in High Octane. Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you. Have a good night.
I will move right on along to second place finisher Toby Estes. It's not a race at Kentucky. It's not a home race, but it's as close as you're going to get this season in the High Octane calendar. Toby, a second place here. Fresh tires, not quite enough. Looks like they were burned out there at the end in that the attempt to chase down Aiden Norman. Walk us through the race, though.
I got zero practice. Missed the driver's meeting, so didn't get to qualify. So had no idea what the truck was going to do. I found out during the day I had somewhat of a medium to, I guess you could say, a long run truck where I could really get speed off the exit. Got caught up in a wreck with Knowlton. To my mind, I think it was just a little bit of a racing deal. I seen a spot and went there, and he came down, and I could have rolled out of the throttle a little more, and he could have stayed up. It's just one of those things. Nothing intentional. Then there towards the end, we had about 34 laps to go, and I pit, and I think Moldy pit. And if it would have went green the entire time, I think we'd have been fine. But yeah, like you said, I just kind of burnt my tires up trying to make my way past those guys that didn't pit, and then it didn't take long for the tires to equalize out.
And this race proved to be a little bit more important. Obviously, drama has been the name of the game this past week. Delta Sport, who have been sort of the front runners in this series, not present here tonight in Nashville. No idea if they're going to be present the rest of the season. You entered this race second in points. Now there's an empty void at the top. Despite having no practice, you put together another podium effort here today. This is your third podium in 5 races. Is the feeling that this 19 truck is a truck that could win a championship this season? And if so, sort of what's the next step to sort of improve that program to try to go and grab race wins to make that even more of an argument?
Yeah, I mean, me and Seeger was having really good battles throughout the year. So I mean, I hate to see him step away. I don't know if they're coming back or not. I hate to see that. It's always, you never want to see good competition step away or not come back. And I was learning to push myself a little more following him. And like I said, we had good battles, but I got to for one, I got to start making the drivers meetings. Can't make that a habit, and get some more on track time. But yeah, I gotta go for the wins. Yes, at the end if strategy calls for it. But then again, I need to make sure I'm getting solid stage points. Every race, because that's the name of the game.
A second place finish helps out significantly as far as closing in the gap at the top of the board here. That being said, I know it's a busy time in ARCS, a lot of stuff going on throughout the week. Before we let you go, obviously let you prepare for that. Obviously, this race had your family name on it, the Estes Property Care 150 here tonight in Nashville. Before we let you go and obviously let you get ready for everything else coming up this weekend, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Right now, you're the top man in the series, so take it away.
Yeah, just shout out to Fame and all the other admins. I hate, everything's been a lot of drama here lately. I hate that. And it's definitely not easy from an admin standpoint to kind of work your way through that. You know that as well as I do, Carmen. So, I mean, so hopefully that gets smoothed out. I sponsored the race with Estes Property Care. So if you're in the local area of Greensburg or Taylor County, hit me up with all your property needs. Yeah, appreciate the broadcast.
A phenomenal job for Toby Estes, the Bluegrass Bandit, on podium once again, and now the top dog in the High Octane after 5 races here in the High Octane Series. Toby, congratulations, and hopefully we get to talk to you again in Victory Lane here soon.
Yep, appreciate it.
And we'll end out the night with the man of the hour. It's been a long time since we've talked to Aiden Norman in Victory Lane. We get to talk to him here in Nashville. The 62 truck bringing Ram its first win in ARCS as an official manufacturer. Aiden, walk us through it, because it seemed like there was the Connor Knowlton show for most of that race. That 62 truck took a second to fire up, but once it did, it was clear sailing from there. A fantastic race for the 62 count.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen. It's nice to be back, first of all. It's definitely been a long time. Guys, what, 2 years? Have I been up here for?
So I believe we've had a podium interview with you at one point over the last 2 years, but we've not had a race winning interview in almost 2.5 years. So it's been a
Ooh,
hot
yeah,
second.
that's a while, but it's good to be back. Yeah, I didn't even really plan on running tonight, but I was really bored and kind of just staring at my PC. And I realized I was still in the High Octane League, and I saw the session up, so I was like, okay, screw it, I'll join and run some laps tonight. I joined like right before the drivers meeting, so I got super lucky and was able to keep my qualifying spot. And then from then on, it was kind of just dealing with dirty air. There's a good bit of that. I still think it was good enough to where I felt like I could race. Like I don't know how much you caught on it, but I was getting some good side by side action with people like Forndran, Belleville, all the typical guys. But yeah, the race win is a lot easier when the fastest guy on track takes himself out over some petty stuff, you know. It's honestly, I'd be embarrassed if that was me, but yeah.
The saying goes, one man's trash, another man's treasure, is sort of how that plays out. We saw obviously the issue with Knowlton and Belleville is what ended up taking Knowlton out of the race. I think ultimately ended up taking Belleville out of the race too, with the damage that he received. Clean air, obviously, you mentioned being sort of the key here, but the battles were still fun regardless. The tires we thought were going to be a focal point. They kind of were. You had a 12 lap disadvantage there on the tires compared to everyone that was right behind you trying to battle for that podium position. What were the tires feeling like for you? Because you were able to go 36 laps on them by the time it was all said and done. What was sort of the trick to making those tires last as long as they did, to where you were able to pull a gap at the end?
Yeah, I think first of all, the big thing is the fact that I had the lead for most of those 36 laps, so there was no real dirty air on my nose. Because if you get stuck in dirty air, you start understeering a whole lot. These things don't get loose in dirty air; they get tight. So I'd have been heading up towards the wall a lot more than I did, even though I definitely had my few visits here and there. But the second big thing that I noticed I was doing different immediately from like lap two, well, probably not lap two. Whenever I got behind Knowlton on the very first stage, was he was arcing it a lot more, and I think most people were following that line, and I'm not really sure why, because I was wrapping the paint the whole time and I was getting loose instead of tight personally. Like the only time I got tight is if I straight up just missed the corner and didn't hit the paint. But if you got down to the paint, it would just drag the truck around. You'd get loose. You can throttle up real quick, and I think that's the second half of what kept my tires fresh.
It was the name of the game here tonight, and obviously you kind of just jumped in, sort of feeling the vibe to come and race, and it worked out here with a race win. That being said, huge challenge coming up for the Truck Series coming up next Saturday. We go to the streets of St. Petersburg for the first time, a street circuit on the calendar. Is that a race that we might see the 62 truck back on track again for to try to take that challenge on?
Carmen, you know how much I love road courses. So there's a very good chance I will be there. I know definitely on ABN broadcasts, I've had some really fun races on road courses. The A squared race a couple of years ago comes to mind at Watkins Glen. That was a really good one.
Absolutely.
So I hope to be there. Hopefully nothing else comes up, but as long as I'm sitting here in my apartment, bored out of my mind, then I'll plan to show up.
We'll love to hear it. It's going to be a wild time in St. Petersburg. That again, that's next Saturday, the next race in the High Octane calendar before we get to Easter. Before we let you go and obviously let you celebrate the race win and get ready for the rest of your weekend, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. As I mentioned at the top of the interview, it's been a while since we've had a chance to talk to you. Hopefully, we get a couple more of these interviews in this season in Victory Lane. But take it away.
Yeah, the only real thing I got to say is Bandit Racing at it again.
Absolutely. A 1-2 finish for Bandit Racing. Aiden Norman, race winner here in Nashville Superspeedway. He'll try to go back-to-back in St. Petersburg next Saturday. Aiden, congratulations, and hopefully we'll talk to you then.
Yep. Thank you, Carmen.
That was Aiden Norman, your race winner here from Nashville. And again, results top of your screen. Aiden Norman, Toby Estes, Chris Fleming. We heard from all three of them. Matt Vordren and Bradley Wright round out your top 5. Josh Gaiman, Jimmy Braille, Dale Markowski, Austin Mongold, and Colin McDonough round out your top 10 here tonight. Upcoming races here on ABN. Tomorrow night, right here on Twitch, is the Winstel Cup Series from Texas Motor Speedway. 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Twitch. You're not going to miss that. Gen 4 action in the Lone Star State. On Monday, we head over to Patreon. HTL Delaware Challenge, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Patreon. It is the Mazda MX-5s at the Daytona Road Course for the first ever rain race in HTL. And then we head to Bristol that night on Monday night to race the MX-5s in Thunder Valley. ARCS High Octane next Saturday. Race the streets of St. Petersburg. Gonna be a lot of fun. 8 p.m. next Saturday right here on Twitch. And then the last race before we get to the Easter break for the Winstel Cup Series, the car tomorrow at the Paperclip, Martinsville Speedway, next Sunday at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. That'll be the last race broadcast on Twitch in general as we moved over to YouTube. And while we're at it here, Patreon, we mentioned it Monday nights. We have the HTL Delborough Challenge. We have the ABN Champ Car World Series on Patreon as well. Podcasts coming up this upcoming week, as well as announcements and a whole bunch of other features coming up here. All that's on Patreon. Whether you join as a free member or subscribe, all the support is greatly appreciated. The QR code on your screen gets you directly to our Patreon page. That'll do it from us here in Nashville. A phenomenal race. Aiden Norman breaks a winless streak to grab the victory here in Tennessee. We'll see you tomorrow night from Texas. On behalf of everyone here for ARCS, for High Octane and all of its partners, and everyone here at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Stay safe and stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow night.